Hörrni, det är faktiskt 40 år sedan Debbie Harry och Chris Stein startade ett band i New York. Med hits som Heart of Glass, Atomic och Hanging on the Telephone så förändrade Blondie popmusiken och populärkulturen för alltid faktiskt. Debbie Harry, som ni ser här, utsåg snabbt till en sexsymbol och det är svårt att tänka sig till exempel Madonna och Lady Gaga utan Debbie Harry. Och allt började 1974 på den legendariska klubben CBGB's i New York.
Yes, it was quite different. The city was actually bankrupt, and the federal government was ignoring the city. So it was a very fertile ground for artists and musicians, because there was very low rent, and it was a very creative atmosphere. It was a good time, and so the interchange and confusion of ideas and eccentricities were big, and it was very full of people, young people that were struggling to do their art or music or whatever.
Do you think you become a better artist when you live in not poverty but
decline?
Where you don't have too much money?
Well, it makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to, have some kind of job to pay the rent.
It was easier for us to practice for a long period. We went, there were years and years where we could just practice and workshop and work on what we were doing. I think it's a lot more concentrated now what people have to do.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all this was Club CBGB's, where it started for a lot of bands.
Yes.
It was Blondie and it was Patti Smith and Ramones and television. How important was CBGB's to...
CBGB's was, we played every weekend for 7 months in a row.
Yeah.
At one point. We were just always there. I mean, I was there. Me and the drummer, Clem, realized I never watched Saturday Night Live because I was always out on Saturday night, and we would just go there. And in CB's, Hilly used to have chairs like this, and it was like this but dirtier. And he had a bookshelf, and you could just go and sit there, and it was like kind of being at home, and we would just hang out there.
And the other artists were your friends?
Yeah. Everyone sort of hung out. It was very easy, very intermingled, and theater people and jazz musicians as well. It was a very, I guess, intimate in a way.
Mm. But a lot of artists on the punk and new wave scene, some of them, your friends, they were victims of heavy drugs and heroin and so on. Have you ever asked yourself why you managed to stay alive and not them?
I think just luck, really. It's tragic, very tragic that we lost so many wonderful people, and I just can't lay the blame on anyone. But I think that the drugs were so easily available, and it actually was sort of fashionable.
There wasn't a lot of information about it beforehand. Now everybody knows because they've seen, whatever 2 generations of people getting wasted by the stuff, so heroin, whatever, But back then, my parents' generation didn't have any information about drugs,
And even in those days, they thought that cocaine was not addictive.
Yeah.
I mean, cocaine is not, heroin is addictive, but not cocaine. So I mean, information and knowledge has increased and improved. So.
When I read articles about you and the band, the words queen, icon, sex object are quite common in those articles. Do you remember when fans and media began to talk about you as a sex object?
Well, I think I probably promoted that.
Yeah. Pretty early. That was one. When you do rounds of interviews, you get similar questions, and back then that was one of the main questions that was, how does it feel being a sex symbol? I remember she was always getting that question. So I don't know if there is an answer, really.
No. But you promoted that yourself, but were you fine with it when it all started happening and it became faster and faster and you were on the cover of magazines and all
well,
that?
yes, because I mean that was sort of the object, to create attention and to stimulate commerce, and we, wanted to have a commercial life, and I think that the songs that we wrote were aimed at a certain amount of entertainment, as well as, having some kind of social comment. And, that seemed the natural thing to do, really.
But Debbie got a lot of criticism for being too overtly sexual and selling her sexuality. And now we see it's very commonplace, that's the norm now, is for pretty female artists to be put out there, and in those days it was a little more unusual, I think.
It's good to hear your voice, it's been so long. If I don't get your calls, then everything goes wrong. I want to tell you something you've known all along. Been hanging on the telephone.
You've always embraced new music. Are you still interested in new music?
Sure, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff now. We've been saying, there's a lot of people our age who are always complaining about there's nothing good going on now, and it's kind of crazy to us. I think there's a lot of great music being made all the time.
Yeah.
Especially now, it's getting better and better.
What is the name of that band that we tried to cover their song about she was watering the plants while the people were away?
Fever Ray, yeah, sure.
Fever Ray, one of my favorites. Forever.
And the Knife and all that.
Swedish, really good Swedish band.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah,
they're so creative.
Yeah. So how do you stay hip? How do you dig in these new cultures and new music? How do you manage to do that?
Well, I think that one of the things is that that's the way we were trained, and I think that discovery and experiment was always something that we look forward to.
But do you have to be young to stay in the front line today?
Well, I think you're really fresh mentally when you're 20, 30, certainly, but you just make adjustments to keep going.
Yeah, as an artist, I think that you always are exploring and making discoveries. And they say, that keeping young and keeping your brain in good shape is like an exercise. To keep learning something is a challenge to want to keep your eyes open.
So I guess this is a balance between experience and all the rush of adrenaline and hormones that you have going when you're younger.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with the aging thing?
Well, it's frustrating because
there's annoying aspects of it.
Yeah, because if you want to, keep going and doing things, your brain can, sort of be more active than your body allows you to be. So that can be frustrating. So, I guess that's part of the reason it's a worldwide effort to become more physically fit and to stay healthy.
Are you still friends with the other bands? Television, Patti Smith, and the guys in Ramones that are still alive?
Yes.
Yeah, we see a few people here and there. It's not everybody's, has kids and are living their lives in different places now. It's not like everyone is together all the time.
Right, but I think we have a finer appreciation of it, and I think, like when I see somebody like Lenny Kaye, I'm happy, very happy to see them, and it's, sort of, this is good, this is somebody, still around and, that you admire, and they're still working, It's very, very nice.
It was very nice meeting you, and good luck with the 40th anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. A little luck goes a long way.
Hon fyller 70 nästa år, Debbie Harry. Übercool är hon fortfarande, tycker jag i alla fall. Om ni har missat det här reportaget så kan ni se det igen på TV4 Play.